Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt a sudden, inexplicable sense of remembering? As if the vast, silent expanse isn't a barrier, but a mirror reflecting a history we've somehow forgotten. For millennia, humanity has been left clues. They are carved into the limestone of the Great Pyramid, Earth's lost cosmic blueprint. They are woven into the sacred architecture of the Merkaba and hidden within the profound geometry of the cosmic serpent. We are told stories of lost, golden ages, of Atlantis, slipping beneath the waves, and Lemuria, the forgotten land of ancient wisdom.
But these are not mere myths. They are fragments of a grander, universal tapestry. From the whispers of starseeds waking up across the globe, to the profound messages hidden in Pleiadian symbolism, a singular truth begins to emerge. We are not isolated travelers on a lonely rock. We are part of a vast, multi-dimensional reality, climbing through the 7 spiritual planes toward a unified Christ consciousness. Today, we pull back the veil. We are weaving these threads together to map the unseen architecture of existence. Close your eyes, let the noise of the modern world fade, and join us as we journey deep into the cosmic and esoteric realms.
Time swallows all things, yet the stone remembers. Long before the horizons of Egypt or Sumer, a continent breathed in the dark expanses of the southern oceans. The ancient Tamils called it Kumari Kandam, a realm of kings and sages erased by the primordial fury of the rising deep. It was no myth. It was a geological scar witnessed by the survivors of the great cataclysm. Across continents, the fragments of this forgotten empire remain, encoded in rock, hidden in plain sight. Look at the coastlines. Look beneath the waves where the continental shelves abruptly drop into nothingness. The memory of Lemuria is a ghost that haunts global folklore, a golden age drowned in a single sleepless night. Science calls it the post-glacial flood. The ancients called it the anger of the cosmic waters. But what did they leave behind before the ocean claimed their home? They left a blueprint, a sacred language of stone and stars that spans from India to the isolated islands of the Pacific. It is a riddle written in cyclopean masonry, impossibly large blocks that no nomadic tribe could have moved. We have been taught that civilization is linear, that we are the apex of history. But the ruins beneath the sea suggest we are merely an amnesiac species, rebuilding on the graves of giants. Go to Yonaguni. Off the coast of Japan, massive stone terraces plunge over 100 feet into the dark Pacific. Skeptics call it natural fracture lines, but nature does not cut perfect right angles or carve deep straight channels into solid bedrock. These underwater structures match the terrestrial platforms of South America and ancient India. The ancient Tamil Sangam texts describe an expanse of 49 territories swallowed by the sea. They called this disaster Maduri Kolal, the swallowing of the first great academies of wisdom. When the waters rose at the end of the last ice age, the Sunderland Shelf vanished. A landmass twice the size of India disappeared beneath the South China Sea. This is the missing link of history, the cradle of a global seafaring civilization whose name has been forgotten. Look at the shared architectural signature. The T-shaped stone pillars found at Göbekli Tepe are mirrored in the Pacific Islands. Why did cultures separated by thousands of miles of ocean build the exact same monuments? Because they were inheriting the remnants of a single shattered world. The survivors fled inland,
They climbed the highest mountains, bringing with them the sacred geometry of Lemuria. They became the gods of the post-Diluvian world, the bringers of agriculture, astronomy, and law.
The symbols are keys. The primary emblem of this lost empire was the sacred alignment of the three worlds. The left-handed spiral represents the cosmic pole of the abyss, the force that dissolves physical matter back into the primeval ocean. In the esoteric schools, Lemuria was known as the land of the ancestral fire. They understood that everything moves in cycles. Continents rise and continents fall, just as the breath enters and leaves the body. The architecture was built to withstand time itself. No mortar, just gravity, geometry, and perfect resonance. They chose basalt and granite because these stones hold a high crystalline structure. They are natural transmitters of frequency. The temples were not for worship. They were cosmic tuning forks, aligning the local magnetic grid with the stars. When the land sank, the grid was broken. Earth fell into a dark age of spiritual amnesia. The knowledge was hidden in myths, disguised as fairy tales to escape the persecution of time. The legend of the sunken kingdom is universal, from the Celtic Avalon to the Aztec Aztlan. They all point to the same coordinates, the vast, silent depths of the southern seas. The maps we use today are incomplete. They show the world after the flood, not the world before.
Look at Easter Island. Isolated by thousands of miles of open water, giant stone faces stare out at the horizon. Local tradition says they were not built by the current inhabitants. They were there before the world changed. Their backs are turned to the sea, as if guarding the memory of a land that once existed behind them. In the valleys of Indonesia, the Bada Valley monoliths stand in total silence. Elongated torsos, massive eyes, unknown origins. Archaeologists claim they are burial markers, but there are no bones, there are no graves. They are boundary stones, markers left at the highest points of the old world to signal where the flooding stopped. The style of these statues is identical across the entire Pacific Rim. This is not a coincidence. It is the signature of an artistic style that was standardized across thousands of miles. A global culture requires global communication. It requires ships that could cross oceans before the invention of the compass.
They navigated by the stars, but not the stars we see today. They mapped the heavens before the axial precession shifted. Their alignment matches the world of 12,000 years ago, the exact date of the Younger Dryas cataclysm. The stone is a clock, and the clock has run out before. To know the future, we must look to the depths. The ocean floor is a vast library of unread history. Lemuria was not a fantasy of the Victorian era. It was a physical reality that our ancestors experienced. They saw the mountains split. They saw the sea turn to boiling foam as the crust shifted. And they left us a warning, written in the only medium that can survive the ages, solid rock. Every monument we build today is fragile. Our steel will rust, our digital archives will vanish in a flash of light, but the stones of Lemuria still stand beneath the Pacific waves, silent witnesses to our ignorance. The mythic past is merely our forgotten reality. When the cycles align once more, the ocean floors will lift, and what was hidden will be revealed to a world that has forgotten how to see. We are not the first. We are simply the latest chapter in a book that has been rewritten 1,000 times.
The wisdom of Lemuria is not lost. It waits. It sleeps in the dark current. Listen to the silence of the ancient stones. Remember who you are before the waters rise again. The clock is ticking.
Within the void of pre-creation, a pattern emerged, not of flesh, but of pure geometric light. It is the Merkaba, the chariot of the gods, the throne upon which the soul rides through the dimensions. Forged from two interlocking tetrahedrons, it is the bridge between the finite and the infinite. To the ancients, it was more than a symbol. It was a technology of spirit, a vehicle of light that transcends the limitations of the biological shell. Mer, Ka, Ba, three words that unlock the structure of the universe itself: light, spirit, and body, rotating in opposite directions to create a gateway. But how did a vision from the desert become the secret blueprint for the stars? To find the answer, we must descend into the Hecalot palaces of old. Witness the chariot, understand the machine. The term appears in the first chapter of Ezekiel, a vision of wheels within wheels, burning with fire. Ezekiel saw the chariot of God, a mobile throne that moved with the speed of lightning. It was the first recorded encounter with the multi-dimensional vehicle. In the Hebrew tradition, the Merkaba became the core of Jewish mysticism. It taught that the practitioner must ascend through the 7 palaces to reach the throne. The Merkaba was the key to the lock, the shield against the guardians of the gates. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, Ba means the physical reality. Together, they describe a field that surrounds the human form. It is the Star of David in 3-dimensional space, a structure that holds the balance between the masculine and the feminine.
Most see it as a static symbol, a jewelry piece. They are wrong. The Merkaba is active. It is a motor that must be spun through the power of breath. Without the rotation, it is merely a cage of light. It requires a precise ratio, 17:21, the speed of the soul. Many overlook that it is linked to the prana tube, the vertical channel of energy. It is not just about floating away, it is about grounding the divine into the earth. It is a fractal, the same shape that governs the birth of a star. If the 2 tetrahedrons do not lock, the field collapses. It is the ultimate protection, a field that neutralizes all lower frequencies. Not a myth, a geometric absolute. How does it function? It begins at the base of the spine. The upward-pointing tetrahedron connects us to the Sun, the Father. The downward-pointing tetrahedron connects us to the Earth, the Mother. They meet at the heart, the point of singularity. When they spin, they create a torus, a self-sustaining energy loop. This is the light body, the vehicle that can withstand the pressure of higher dimensions. It is the Metatron's cube in motion, the blueprint of all 5 platonic solids. To activate it is to become a living star. It processes information through resonance, not thought. The Merkaba is the interface between the human and the divine.
Ancient Egypt knew it. The Merkaba was their path to the stars. They used it to navigate the Duat, the land of the dead. Today, we rediscover this forgotten science. It is the remedy for a world of chaos, the anchor in the storm. You are not a body with a soul. You are a star in a shell. The Merkaba is the ignition switch for that star. It turns the seeker into the finder. Master the geometry, master your fate. For those who ride the chariot, distance is an illusion, time is a circle, and you are the center. The Merkaba is calling. Can you hear the rotation? It is the chariot of light, your inheritance. Do not just look at it, become it. The journey of the Merkaba has only just begun. In the silence, the chariot waits. Ready your breath, ready your intent. The stars are closer than you think.
Ride the light. You are the Merkaba. Awaken.
You are more than a body trapped in time. Reality is a ladder of 7 rungs. We inhabit a nested universe, 7 planes of density layered like an eternal veil. From the cold stone of the physical to the blinding light of the divine. The physical plane, the densest, the visible, the prison of the 5 senses. It is the foundation of the work where spirit meets the resistance of matter. Above it lies the astral, the realm of desire, the landscape of your dreams. Here, emotions take form, every fear a shadow, every love a beacon. This is the gateway, the inner stargate described by the ancients. Higher still, the mental plane, the forge of thought, the architecture of intellect. This realm is split, concrete logic below, abstract truth above. Here, the ego is a king, but his throne is made of glass. Beyond the mind lies the Buddhic plane, the realm of pure intuition. Separation dies here. There is no I, there is only the one. The Atmic plane, the 5th rung, the spirit's true home. Here, the will of the divine is the only law, power without effort. The 6th rung, the Anupadaka, the monadic spark. Your origin point, the seed of divinity planted before the stars were born. Finally, the Adi plane, the first, the source, the absolute. To speak of it is to lose it. It is pure, unmanifest consciousness. Why does this matter? Because you are a traveler of all 7. Your chakras are the anchors, the bridges across the abyss. When the root pulses, you are tethered to the stone. When the crown opens, you touch the Adi. Ancient Egypt knew this, the 7 gates of the Duat. The Hindus called them lokas, worlds within worlds.
Hermeticists whispered, as above, so below. The planes are not up, they are in. You do not move through space, you shift your frequency. Meditation is the technology of the ascent. Death is merely the shedding of the lower coats. First the physical body, then the astral, then the mind. What remains? The traveler, the soul. Most people spend their lives in the basement, the physical. They mistake the shadow for the sun, the map for the territory. But you sense the vibration, the call of the higher planes. The astral calls through your dreams, vivid, warning, revealing. The mental calls through the aha moment, the flash of genius. The Buddhic calls through the tears of compassion. Every plane has its inhabitants, its light beings. They are not aliens, they are residents of a different density. To see them, you must adjust your inner vision. The seat of the soul is the antenna. The 7 planes are a roadmap for your evolution. You are an architect, building your body of light. Brick by brick, plane by plane. Beware the traps of the lower astral, the illusions of power. True mastery is the ability to navigate the mental without losing the heart. Align your 3 lower bodies with the 4 higher. This is the great work of the alchemist. Transformation, transmutation. You are a bridge between the small universe and the great. Do not fear the heights, do not ignore the depths. Every plane is a lesson, every density is a school. The goal is not to escape, but to integrate. To be a citizen of the 7 planes simultaneously. This is the promise of the mystery schools. The secret is hidden in plain sight, in the geometry of your cells. You are a cosmic device, a stargate in human skin. Wake up, traveler. The ladder is waiting. 7 planes, 1 journey. The climb begins now.
You are not a body of clay. You are a lighthouse in a storm of matter. What we call light beings are not myths, they are the original blueprints of consciousness. Before the heavy veil of 3D density, there was only the pleroma, the great fullness, where beings exist as pure, coherent frequency. To the ancients, they were the eons, emanations of the divine mind. In Persia, they were the Amesha Spentas, the bounteous immortals. But what is a light being in the language of the modern seeker? Science speaks of photons, particles with no mass, only momentum. Imagine a consciousness that moves at speed of light, where time becomes a flat circle. They are the architects of the holographic universe, operating from the fifth dimension and beyond, where geometry is the only law. Your eyes are tuned to a narrow band, but your pineal gland, the inner stargate, built with calcite crystals to perceive the unperceivable. Light beings do not speak, they resonate. Information is transmitted through geometric downloads. You feel them as a sudden epiphany, a warmth in the chest. Many claim to be star seeds, fragments of these beings anchored in flesh, sent here to stabilize the grid, to be anchors for the coming shift.
But beware the trap of the ego. A light being is not a title, it is a state of vibration. Ancient Egypt knew this. They spoke of the Akh, the shining one, the transfigured soul that has conquered death. To become a light being is to shed the lead of your trauma. This is the true alchemy, turning carbon into silicon, into light. Are they visitors from other stars, or versions of you from the future? In the Merkaba teachings, the light body is a vehicle, a chariot for the soul to navigate the celestial rivers. The density of Earth is a school, a laboratory for frequency. Every thought you have is a broadcast. Light beings exist in the silence between those thoughts. They are the watchers of the Book of Enoch, not judging, simply observing the unfolding of the Logos. When you dream, you step into their ocean. Astral projection is the training ground for the light body. You are learning to move without legs, to see without eyes. This is the great work, the return to the source.
But do not look for them in the sky. Look in the marrow. Your DNA is a crystalline antenna. It vibrates to the music of the spheres. When the vibration rises, the veil thins. You begin to see the sparks in the air, the orbs. They are the scouts of the higher realms. Ancient shamans called them allies. They guide the soul through the bardo, the in-between. Without their light, you are lost in the ego's maze. They are the guardians of the threshold. To pass, you must be as light as a feather. This is the ma'at of the soul. Light beings are not better than you. They are you. You are simply a light being having a heavy experience. The shift from 3D to 5D is a recalibration of your core, turning the volume up on the celestial signal. Can you hear the hum of the universe? It is the Logos, the word that became light. When you align with it, you disappear into the brilliance. This is the ascension, not a place, but a perspective. You are the bridge, the connection between earth and sun. Remember your origin, remember your light. The darkness is only waiting for you to wake up. Wake up, light being. The dawn is here.
You feel it, the weight of a world that does not fit, a persistent ache for a home you have never seen. Are you a biological accident or a cosmic transplant? The ancients knew the truth. They called them the Star People, visitors who sowed the seeds of consciousness into the mud of Earth. From the Dogon of Mali to the pharaohs of the Nile, the message was uniform. We are from elsewhere. Today, millions claim the starseed mantle. They are not seekers, they are ricordati, those who remember. This is the forbidden history of your DNA. Welcome to the cosmic diaspora. Begin with the Sumerian kings, the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. They did not just rule, they engineered. The sudden leap in human intellect, the missing link, is etched in gold. Look to the Dogon. Without telescopes, they described Sirius B, the invisible white dwarf, centuries before your science. They claimed the Nomo, amphibious masters from Sirius, gave them the blueprints of time. Myth or data? Egypt was the anchor. The pyramids were not tombs, they were resonators. The pharaohs believed their souls were star seeds returning to the womb of Isis, the star Sothis. But what is a star seed? It is a soul that has lived its primary lives in other systems, Pleiades, Arcturus, Andromeda. They come here as volunteers to assist in a great shift, but the transition is brutal. The density of Earth is a prison. Most starseeds suffer from the veil, a total amnesia of their origin. They feel like black sheep, aliens in their own families. This is the first symptom of the awakening. Then come the dreams, flying, high-tech cities, geometry that breathes. You see the numbers, 1111, 2222. These are not coincidences, they are binary triggers. The DNA is pre-coded to activate when the planet's frequency hits a specific threshold. Let us discuss the types. Pleiadians, the diplomats, they bring the frequency of love and creative expression. Syrians, the builders and water keepers, they hold the records of the ancient temples. Arcturians, the masters of technology and geometry, they are the architects of the new grid. Why Earth? Because this is the living library, a genetic experiment of immense value. Various star nations contributed their DNA to the human project. We are the ultimate synthesis.
But the project was hijacked. Darker forces imposed a cycle of reincarnation to keep the batteries here. Star seeds are the infiltrators, light workers sent to break the frequency fence from the inside. This is not a New Age fantasy. It is panspermia, the scientific theory that life travels between worlds. If life can travel on rocks, why can it not travel on consciousness? The Hopi speak of the blue star Kachina. When it appears in the sky, the fifth world begins. Is the blue star a literal celestial body, or the awakening of the starseed collective? Critics call it escapism, a way to feel special in a mundane world. But what if the mundane is the lie? If you have a starseed heart, you don't care for status, you care for resonance. You find beauty in the sky that others ignore. You feel a pull toward the Pleiades during the winter months. This is your stellar homesickness, a compass point in your soul. Ancient texts like the Emerald Tablets mention children of light who dwell among the children of men. They stay until the task is done, until the earth is sovereign once more. Look at your hands. You are made of starlight and iron. Every atom in your body was forged in the belly of a dying star. You are literally a visitor. But a starseed is one who remembers the intent behind the forge. They are the system busters. They challenge the outdated structures of money, power, and war. To the world, they are eccentric. To the stars, they are pioneers. The mission is simple. Hold the frequency. Stay grounded yet connected. When enough starseeds awaken, the 100th monkey effect takes hold. The global consciousness shifts. We move from a survival-based species to a cosmic-based one. The visitors will have finished their work, and then we go home. But where is home? Is it a place or a state of being? The Hermeticists said, as above, so below. The stars are in your cells. You are a portal, a bridge between the infinite and the finite.
Don't let the veil win. Remember who you were before you were told who to be. The stars are calling, not from the sky, but from within. The ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead describes the soul's path through the constellations. It was never a myth, it was a map. You are the traveler, the pioneer, the star seed. The time for hiding is over. The time for radiance has begun. Trust your intuition. It is your galactic tether. You are not alone. Thousands are waking up beside you. The cosmic morning is here. Open your eyes. Look to the stars. Recognize your kin. You are the visitor. You are the miracle. You are home. Are these star maps evidence of an ancient arrival or a mirror reflecting our own infinite potential? The truth remains etched in the stone, waiting for those with the eyes to see. Primal Owl, seek the truth, remember.
Time is a hungry ocean, but some secrets refuse to drown.
Behold, Atlantis.
Before the flood, before the memory of man, there was a golden age. Plato, the initiate of Athens, whispered the truth in the shadows of the Lyceum. He spoke of the pillars of Hercules, the gateway to the unknown. Beyond the straits lay a continent larger than Libya and Asia combined. This was the domain of Poseidon, the earth-shaker, the god of the deep. He carved the earth into 3 rings of water and 2 of land, a perfect geometry of power hidden from the gaze of the uninitiated. The capital was a marvel of stone, bridges, and forbidden technology. Ships from every corner of the world docked in her obsidian harbors. But the true wealth of Atlantis was not gold, it was orichalcum, a metal that flashed like fire, mined from the roots of the mountains. They plated their temples in it, turning the city into a terrestrial sun. Within the walls, the 10 kings of Atlantis ruled with absolute wisdom. They were the sons of gods, masters of the elements. For generations they walked the path of light and virtue, but the divine portion within them began to fade. The mortal taint of greed poisoned the Atlantean soul. They looked upon the world with eyes of conquest. Their empire expanded, enslaving the islands and the spirits of men. Zeus, the god of gods, watched the corruption from his throne. He summoned the council to decide the fate of the falling kings. The sentence was passed: purification through water. The earth groaned under the weight of the impending doom. In a single day and night of misfortune, the world broke. Volcanoes screamed, the sky turned to obsidian ash. The great wave rose, a wall of liquid shadow. Atlantis was swallowed, not by the sea, but by time itself. The bells of the temples rang one last time underwater. The city of light became a tomb of mud and silence. But some survived, the keepers of the flame. They carried the blueprints of the lost world in their hearts. They fled to the land of the Nile, the kingdom of Chem. They built the Sphinx as a marker of the great cycle, a lion guarding the memory of the sunken land. They hid the records in a chamber beneath the desert sands, waiting for an age that could decode the mystery. Is the Rishat structure in the Sahara the ghost of the rings, or does the truth lie beneath the ice of Antarctica? We search for the physical, but Atlantis is metaphysical.
It is the memory of our divine origin, the fall from the spirit to the density of matter. Every civilization follows the Atlantean script: rise, peak, hubris, fall. We are at the end of the great year. The waters are rising once again. But this time we carry the warning of the ancients. The orichalcum is not lost, it is within your blood. The fire metal of consciousness is waking up. The rings of Atlantis are the chakras of the world. To find the city, you must navigate the inner ocean, through the pillars of the ego into the heart of the self.
There the temple of Poseidon still stands, untouched by the storms of time and decay. The kings have gone, but the wisdom remains. It is the story of what we were and what we must become. The tide is turning. The islands are rising. Will you answer the call of the deep? Atlantis is not a ghost. It is a prophecy. Remember the fire. Remember the fall.
The cosmos breathes in cycles. For millennia, a solitary spark anchored the Egyptian sky. Sirius, the dog star, known to the ancients as Sopdet. Before the pharaohs built, they watched. They mapped the heavens with ruthless precision. They waited for the heliacal rising, a cosmic trigger written in stone. This is not modern myth. This is the raw architecture of the ancient world. Every summer, the desert choked. The earth cracked under a ruthless sun. Then, the signal appeared. Sopdet emerged from 70 days of exile. She was inextricably linked to Isis, the mother of magic and rebirth. As her star claimed the pre-dawn sky, the dead waters moved. The Nile surged. The green lifeblood of Egypt was unlocked by the stars. To the ancient mind, this was not coincidence. It was the literal handshake of heaven and earth. Look to the pyramid texts, primary sources carved deep in the tomb of Unas. They speak of the deceased king navigating the night sky. He is guided by Sopdet. She births him anew in the celestial horizon. The star was an engine of resurrection, a coordinate for the soul's escape. Move south to Dendera. The temple of Isis holds the physical proof.
The axis of the temple itself was targeted to the precise azimuth of Sirius rising. Inside, the ceiling preserves the Dendera zodiac, a stone map of ancient heavens. Sirius is depicted boldly, a cow reclining in a cosmic boat. This is not mere artwork. It is a stone calculator locking in time. The temple walls explicitly state, "Her majestic light shines into the sanctum on New Year's Day." A physical encapsulation of stellar radiation. The building itself was an eye. But what of the Old Kingdom? What of the silent giants of Giza? The alignment goes deeper into the core, cut directly into the Great Pyramid. Engineers called them ventilation shafts. They were entirely wrong. These blind tunnels target specific coordinates, weapons aimed at the shifting tapestry of time. In the Queen's Chamber, the southern shaft rises perfectly, 39.5 degrees. During its construction epoch, it pointed to only one target upon the meridian: Sirius, the cosmic signature of Isis. Above it, the King's Chamber targeted Orion's belt, the stellar home of Osiris. A macrocosmic marriage, immortalized in millions of tons of masonry. The Great Pyramid was a telescope for the soul, a solid-state launch pad.
This required terrifying mathematical precision. A fraction of an error, and the target is lost. Precession of the equinoxes slowly alters the sky. The alignment only worked for that specific era. The builders knew this limitation. They froze a fleeting moment of cosmic alignment forever. The Egyptians synchronized their entire temporal reality to this single star. Their civil calendar had exactly 365 days, no leap year. This created a quarter-day error annually. The seasons slowly drifted away from the calendar dates. Only one anchor remained absolute: the period between the risings of Sirius. The calendar wandered through the seasons, but the star remained true.
It took 1,460 years for the calendar to realign. This is the Sothic cycle, a macro measurement of time recorded in antiquity. When the cycle completed, they celebrated the return of cosmic order and the rebirth of time. This was not primitive superstition. It was advanced observation, weaponized for survival. Without the star, the inundation was unpredictable. The civilization would starve. Sirius was their lighthouse in the infinite dark ocean of space. Consider the cross-cultural echo. Look to the ancient Greeks. They called it Sirius, the scorching one.
They feared its arrival during the dog days of summer, believing it brought drought and madness. But Egypt inverted this terror. They saw life where others saw destruction. Ignore the modern fluff. Rely on the hard archaeological reality. They built stone machines to track the divine, an intellect we barely comprehend. They locked the universe itself into the mud of the Nile Basin. Step into the cold, dark chambers of history. Feel the calculation of the ancients. This connection is a monument to human genius. The blueprint is written across space and time. Sopdet still rises. The Nile still flows. The monuments still watch. We are merely observers waking up to a forgotten science. The architecture of Giza remains silent, but its geometry shouts to the heavens. Remember this truth when you look up at the night sky. The matrix of the past is locked above. It waits patiently for those who can still read the stone.
Time hides the architecture of human awareness. What modern lips call Christ consciousness is not a new invention. It is an ancient cosmic technology. Long before the modern era, the mystery schools of the Mediterranean tracked a singular anomaly, a state of mind where the human flesh becomes a mirror for the infinite universe. Is it a historical event or an eternal psychological code? To find the truth, we must peel back layers of dogma and look directly into the primary sources of antiquity. The target is not a person, but a principle, the absolute union of human intellect with the cosmic blueprint. This is the chronicle of the Logos, the forgotten history of the awakened mind. Forget what you have been taught. Prepare to witness the raw, historical anatomy of the divine spark.
We begin in Greece 5 centuries before the cross. Heraclitus of Ephesus defines the Logos. The Logos was not a deity, but the underlying reason governing all things, a hidden mathematical harmony. The Stoics expanded this fire. They believed the Logos was a physical, spiritual breath weaving through all matter. To align oneself with this universal reason was the ultimate purpose of human life, the birth of cosmic awareness. Then came Alexandria, a melting pot where Greek logic collided with Hebrew mysticism. Philo of Alexandria, a brilliant Jewish philosopher, bridged the two worlds. He wrote that the Logos was the firstborn of God. Philo explicitly declared the Logos to be the archetype of human intellect, the ideal blueprint of consciousness. This Hellenistic concept formed the exact bedrock for the opening line of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Logos.
The early writers were not inventing new terms. They were adopting a highly sophisticated philosophical framework already centuries old. The historical records show the shift. The cosmic logos was being mapped onto a historical human form. But the core idea remained anchored in transformation, the potential for the individual to become what it beholds. This was not standard worship. This was an archaeological shift in the definition of the self. The primary sources reveal a deep underlying current, a tradition that sought the Christ within. To understand how this internal state functioned, we must look at what was deliberately hidden.
Modern interpretations often dilute this history into generic positivity, but the ancient reality was far more radical. In 1945, a discovery in Egypt changed everything. The Nag Hammadi library was unearthed. Inside were the Gnostic Gospels, texts buried for 16 centuries to escape the flames of heresy hunts. The Gospel of Thomas contains no narrative of a crucifixion or a resurrection. It contains only sayings. In Logian 3, it says clearly, "The kingdom is within you, and it is outside you. When you know yourselves, then you will be known." This was an explicit instruction for self-realization, a total departure from blind external dependency. Logian 108 delivers the ultimate synthesis. "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become that person." This is not the language of master and servant. This is the language of identity duplication. The early Orthodox Church saw this as an immediate threat to institutional control. If everyone could access the Logos directly, priests became obsolete. Therefore, the texts were condemned, collected, and systematically destroyed. The inner mechanism was overwritten by historical narrative. Yet even within Orthodox theology, the ghost of this truth survived. It was known as theosis. Athanasius of Alexandria wrote the defining line of early Christian mysticism: "He was made human, that we might be made divine." Divinity was not a status to be feared. It was an evolution to be achieved through alignment with the Logos. What most people miss is that the mystery was never about historical adoration. It was about psychological transmutation. How does this inner mechanism actually function according to the ancient texts? It requires the absolute dissolution of the ego. The Gnostics called the mundane human mind the psyche. It is bound by time, fear, and cultural programming. But beneath the psyche lies the pneuma, the timeless breath of the divine essence. To activate Christ consciousness is to switch the seat of identity from the psyche to the pneuma, a systematic awakening. This process mimics the ancient Platonic allegory of the cave, turning away from shadows and looking directly into the sun. In the esoteric tradition, the crucifixion is not merely a historical execution. It is a geometric symbol. The cross represents the intersection of time and eternity, matter crossing spirit. To be crucified on the cross of matter means to die to the lower nature, to break the chains of the material senses. Only through this symbolic death can the resurrection occur, which is nothing less than the awakening of the cosmic mind. The texts are precise. This is an operational blueprint practiced in secret mystery schools throughout antiquity. It requires intense meditation, isolation, and the mastery of internal focus, the narrowing of awareness down to a single point. When the mind becomes completely still, the barrier breaks.
the drop re-enters the ocean. You cease to be an isolated ego navigating a hostile world. You become the world itself, experiencing itself. This is the functional meaning of the phrase, "I and my Father are one." It is a mathematical equation of identity, the realization of non-duality through the filter of Hellenistic mysticism.
The historical evidence proves this was the ultimate secret of the early inner circles, the hidden core of the mystery, a secret guarded by those who chose exile and execution rather than capitulation to literalist dogmas. Now the fragments are reassembling. The ancient code is being cracked wide open. The historical analysis leads to an undeniable conclusion. Christ consciousness is not a belief system. It is a state of psychological evolutionary development, the awakening of the cosmic intellect within the human container. It belongs to no single religion, no specific century, and no exclusive institution. It is the birthright of human consciousness. The Logos remains active. The ordering principle of the universe is still breathing through the matter of your body. The texts have survived the fires of suppression. The primary sources are clear for those with eyes to see. The mystery is solved when the seeker realizes that the Savior they were taught to wait for is the consciousness they must awaken within themselves. The portal is open. The historical code is yours to execute. Awaken the Logos. Return to the origin.
Across every fragmented century, one singular architecture dominates human memory: the cosmic serpent. It is not a mere beast of bone and scales, but an immortal geometric blueprint binding the cosmos together. From the tombs of pharaohs to the high temples of the Maya, the design remains completely unbroken. Why did civilizations separated by vast oceans choose the exact same symbol to represent absolute eternity? They left the answer carved directly into the bedrock of history, waiting for those who dare to read it. Strip away the modern illusions and behold the raw, unaltered truth of the ancient mind. We begin our descent in the Valley of the Kings, inside the gilded resting place of Tutankhamun. Etched upon the second golden shrine lies the earliest recorded Ouroboros, the snake devouring its own tail. Primary funerary texts name this entity Mehen, the great celestial guardian of the solar bark. Every night, as the sun god Ra descends into the terrifying abyss of the underworld, chaos threatens to erase existence. Mehen coils completely around the divine light, forming an impenetrable shield against the void. The loop is not a symbol of self-destruction. It is the perimeter of creation itself. It marks the boundary where unmanifest chaos is forged into structured, cyclical time. The Greeks inherited this architectural truth, naming the eternal loop Ion. Now, fly across the Atlantic abyss to the stone rainforests of Mesoamerica. At Yaxchilan, archaeological lintel 25 reveals a terrifying, precise ritual. Through the ancient letting of royal blood, the Maya summoned the multi-dimensional vision serpent. This was no hallucination. It was an explicit technological conduit for the gods. The serpent's open jaws served as an active stargate, vomiting forth ancestors and cosmic wisdom. This evolved into Quetzalcoatl, the majestic feathered serpent of the Aztec codices.
He is the axis mundi, the living spine where earth, underworld, and heavens violently lock together. Finally, journey to the rock-cut sanctuaries of ancient India. The Badami cave reliefs preserve the image of Vishnu resting upon Ananta Shesha. Shesha means that which remains when the entire universe is utterly dissolved into nothingness.
Modern interpretations have diluted this raw power into cheap, comforting New Age metaphors. They tell you the snake is simply a symbol of personal healing or gentle nature cycles. They are completely wrong. The ancients feared the serpent because it represented the terrifying mechanics of reality. It is a symbol of absolute, cold mathematical recurrence, the matrix of destiny. Look closer at the primary Gnostic texts of the 2nd century. The Gnostics declared the material world was walled in by a giant serpent called Ophiomorphos. This celestial barrier keeps human souls trapped within the cyclical wheel of reincarnation. To escape, one had to possess the secret keys of geometric knowledge to pierce the snake's hide. This splits the myth into two profound interpretations: the serpent as prison warden or the serpent as liberator. In the Garden of Eden, it is the serpent that offers the forbidden fruit of gnosis, true knowledge. It forces humanity out of the stagnant bliss of ignorance and hurls them into the fires of conscious evolution. It is the ultimate boundary, the threshold between slavery and total cosmic awakening. How does this macrocosmic machine function within the biological framework of the human body? The ancient Upanishads explicitly map this mechanism as Kundalini. This is the primordial life force, described precisely as a serpent coiled 3.5 times at the base of the spine. It lies completely dormant, asleep in the dark mud of material existence. But when ignited by the friction of advanced breathwork and intense focus, the serpent awakens. It begins its violent ascent through the central neural highway, the Sushumna Nadi. This directly echoes the caduceus of the Greek god Hermes. The twin snakes of the caduceus, Ida and Pingala, represent the perfect balance of opposing cosmic polarities, solar and lunar, masculine and feminine, destructive and creative forces weaving around a singular column. When these currents cross at the brow, they trigger the pineal stargate, the third eye blooms. The internal consciousness shatters its biological prison and flows out into the macrocosm. This is the internal alchemy that turns the lead of human limitation into the pure gold of divine awareness. The macrocosmic snake outside and the microcosmic snake inside are precisely the same machine. As above, so below, a perfect closed loop of infinite conscious architecture. To understand the serpent is to understand the hidden mechanics of your very own central nervous system. It is an ancient psychological cybernetics system left behind by master programmers. They did not speak in written words. They spoke in the absolute authority of structural geometry, a geometry that bypasses the rational mind and strikes deep into the subconscious archetype. We arrive at the distilled core of the historical mystery. The cosmic serpent is not an item of worship. It is a map of the universe's ultimate constraint. It tells you that everything that has ever happened and everything that will ever happen is bound to repeat eternally, unless you find the hidden structural key to break the loop and transcend the cycle. Wake up from the loop, pick up the pieces of the shattered mirror and look closely at who you really are. For within your very spine lies the power that commands the stars, the immortal,
cosmic serpent. History is a lie told by survivors. Look to the stars. The answers are etched in stone. Across every fractured civilization, one cosmic signature remains: the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades. They did not worship the sky, they calculated it, a transmission hidden in plain sight. From the caves of Lascaux to the plains of Giza, the global architecture aligns. Who gave the coordinates? The Maya called them the Tzab-ek, the rattle of the celestial serpent, the seed of time itself. This is not myth, this is archaeology, a cross-cultural blueprint left by the architects of reality. The Nebra disk records it, a prehistoric calendar of supreme precision. Why this specific cluster? The alignment is absolute. Mathematics do not lie. The monuments are transmitters. Enter the void of history. Strip away the modern narrative. Listen to the stone. The Sumerian cuneiform names them the Mulmul, the star of stars. The Greeks hid the data in tragedy, the 7 daughters of Atlas, kept safe in mythology. We are tracking a signal, a message sent across millennia. Are you ready to decode it?
We begin at the cradle, Mesopotamia, where the gods walked among men. The texts describe the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. Their lineage points to Taurus. The temples were built as mirrors, cosmic nodes designed to anchor the stellar frequency, a literal landing pad for knowledge. They recorded the movements, not for farming, but for contact. The triad of power, the sun, the moon, and the 7, equal in structural importance. The texts state that the kingship was lowered from heaven, from the place of the star cluster, a direct inheritance. They possessed map data that shouldn't exist, orbital periods, precession cycles. This knowledge was not developed slowly. It appeared fully formed, an intellectual injection. They carried the symbol into battle, a token of divine protection from the star-born parents. Every initiate had to pass under the sign, a constant reminder of our true origin, the forgotten lineage. The tablets speak of the 7 judges who sit in the sky, overseeing the human experiment. They watched, they measured, and they waited for the alignment to repeat.
New Age fluff calls it a playground of angels. The reality is much colder. It is a precision geodetic matrix. Most look at the temples as tombs. They are wrong. They are stone calculating machines. Look at the math. The angle of the shafts points precisely to the Pleiades apex in 2500 BCE. This is hard engineering. The stone choices were deliberate. High quartz granite, piezoelectric transmitters matching our own biology. It is a global geodetic grid, connected by a single stellar reference point, a cosmic coordinate system across oceans. The technology was stripped away. Only the stone foundations survived the cataclysms. We are looking at the skeleton of a machine. The mainstream narrative claims isolation, but how do unconnected tribes share the exact same orbital math? It is impossible without a single source. This knowledge predates writing. It is part of our foundational software, programmed into human consciousness. They did not leave books, they left architecture, because stone survives time. The code became hidden in royalty, sealed in rings and crowns. The elite kept the lineage secret. They died to protect the lineage data, a mystery school of cosmic preservation. The truth was weaponized. We must look past the modern interpretation. The ancient world was not primitive. It was aligned to a higher frequency.
How does the mechanism work? Through sacred geometry, the spatial angles between monuments mirror the star distances. The seven-pointed star is the mathematical key. It cannot be cleanly divided in base 10. It is an irrational number that breaks modern constraints. The collar of Horus, 7 steps to the throat chakra, a vocal frequency key. They built portals, not for physical bodies, but for conscious projection. The sound of the star cluster, a specific resonance frequency, recorded in ancient hymns as the cosmic whisper. It was a map for the dead, to ensure the soul returned to its source, a stellar navigation system for consciousness. Every symbol is an unlocked door. When you look at the shape, your brain processes the geometry. It activates latent neural networks. They knew our DNA was linked. As above, so below is literal. We are star stuff shaped by ancient hands. The chakras are the internal mirror, the 7 stars within the flesh, the macrocosm locked in the microcosm. To step into the temple was to step into the cosmos, a physical immersion into the data. The architecture was the message. The secret has been passed down through hidden lineages, kept alive by those who see through the illusion of time. The transmission is constant. The coordinates are fixed. The stone is merely waiting for eyes to see.
Time is a closed loop. The empires rise and fall like waves, but the sky remains unyielding. The temples crumble into dust. The names of kings are forgotten, but the geometry survives the collapse. We are finally catching up to the past, rediscovering what was lost in the Great Deluge. Science is merely remembering. The Pleiadian lineage is not an external savior. It is a structural archetype, imprinted on the template of humanity. Look inside. The code is active in your veins. The ancient markers are waking up. The true masters left long ago. They left the keys on the table. It is up to you to claim them. Do not get lost in the material trap. The gold is just dust. The value is in the knowledge. The universe is a book written in geometry. The letters are stars. The words are immutable laws. The shadows are moving. The cycle is coming to an end. The great alignment approaches once more. We are the children of the stars, forgotten in the amnesia of time, but the stones remember. Close the book of lies. Open the eyes of the mind. The cosmic transmission is now complete. I have observed it all. The message is sent. Decode your destiny. Turn your gaze upward.
Stone is not silent. It is a repository of cosmic mathematics waiting to be decoded. Deep within the king's chamber, ancient alignments point toward the imperishable stars, mapping a blueprint that transcends human history. Step into the shadow of the world's greatest enigma and discover the celestial device hidden in plain sight.
stone does not forget. It waits. For 5 millennia, the Great Pyramid has cast its shadow over human ignorance. We call it a tomb, yet no body was ever found. Only an empty granite box resonating with cosmic intent. Look not to the earth, but to the abyss above. The ancients built a mirror for the heavens, a machine forged not of gears, but of mathematics and starlight. The base commands the earth, the apex pierces the sky. 2 + 2, an equation waiting for your mind. In the silence of the king's chamber, a frequency hums, a resonance that defies simple burial. Observe the dimensions, 440 cubits, 280 high. Divide them, the ratio emerges, the exact measurement of pi, woven into solid rock before the Greeks were born. Coincidence? The universe does not deal in accidents. It deals in sacred proportion. Step inside our circle before the ancient gates close again. Align your timeline with ours. The initiation begins now.
Look to the slant angle, 51 degrees. Here, the golden ratio, phi, breathes within the geometry. The same ratio found in the spiral of galaxies, the unfurling of ferns, the architecture of the human skull. They did not just build a monument, they built a scale model of the cosmos. But geometry is only the vessel. The purpose lies hidden in the narrow dark. 2 shafts pierce the king's chamber, not for air, for light, for the soul. The southern shaft targets Orion, Osiris, the god of resurrection. The northern shaft targets Thuban, the ancient pole star, the axis of the heavens. A soul cast through the stone, fired into the imperishable stars, an escape velocity of consciousness. We ask how they built it. The true mystery is why. Could it be a machine of initiation, a chamber to sever the mind from the flesh? The Queen's chamber holds its own secrets, shafts that do not reach the surface, blocked by doors, copper handles eroded by time. What is trapped inside? In 1993, a machine crawled into the dark. It found a door. Red ochre marks, mason signs from a forgotten epoch, messages left in the pitch black. Why align a blocked shaft to Sirius, the star of Isis, the bringer of the flood? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be focused. The core is Aswan granite, high in quartz, piezoelectric. It responds to pressure. Millions of tons pressing down, generating an unseen field, a cosmic antenna tuned to the resonant frequency of the earth, a silent hum. The ancients did not worship the stones, they utilized them. Follow the Grand Gallery. Corbelled walls rising 28 feet into the shadows. Not a hallway, an amplifier, an acoustic resonator designed with terrifying precision. Speak a word inside, and it does not die. It echoes, it transforms. What frequency were they amplifying? The sound of the cosmos? The heartbeat of the earth? The pyramid sits precisely at the center of the Earth's landmass, an anchor point. Longitude and latitude intersecting with mathematical perfection. It was no accident of geography. 2.3 million blocks placed with an accuracy modern builders envy. Aligned to true north within 3/60ths of a degree, without a compass. How?
Look to the stars. They charted the heavens to conquer the stone. The Sphinx watches, a guardian older than dynastic memory, facing the equinox. Orion on the ground, 3 pyramids, 3 stars, a mirror in the sand. But the map is vast. Does it span the globe? Connections to Angkor Wat, to Teotihuacan. The Pyramid of the Sun echoes the same mathematical constants, a global language of stone, whispering a unified theory of consciousness.
The pyramid was once encased in brilliant white limestone. It shone like a star, visible from mountains miles away, a mirror reflecting the heavens back to the gods. Time stripped the casing, left the core, but the geometry remains intact. Look at the Ankh, the key of life, a loop of eternal energy. The pyramid is the Ankh rendered in 3 dimensions, a generator of life force. Ancient initiates lay in the coffer, in absolute darkness, waiting for the light. Sensory deprivation. The ego dies, the cosmic mind wakens. They experienced the ascent, through the shafts, into the embrace of Orion. A simulated death to conquer the fear of eternity, the ultimate initiation. Is it a machine? Yes, but it operates on the physics of the soul, a technology of consciousness, lost to an age that worships only the material. The descent into the subterranean chamber, the pit, the chaotic waters of Nun. Duality, the perfected heights above, the raw, unformed earth below. As above, so below, the hermetic axiom written in millions of tons of stone. We stare at the stones and miss the spaces between them. The voids hold power.
In 2017, cosmic ray muons revealed a hidden void, a massive emptiness above the gallery. What lies within? More chambers, the true tomb of Khufu, or a functional component? The structure is not static. It is a dormant engine waiting for the right frequency. The Egyptians understood resonance. They carved granite with sound and water. The coffer is precisely sized. Strike it, and it rings like a bell of doom. A bell tuned to the resonant frequency of the human skull. A mind-altering hum. It alters brainwaves, pushes the mind from beta into deep theta states, the trance state, where the veil between the physical and the infinite dissolves. This is not myth, it is applied biophysics masked as religion. The pyramid was a tool, a lens to focus the mind into the celestial spheres. The architects possessed knowledge we have forgotten, a science of synthesis, math, astronomy, architecture, and spirituality, not separate disciplines, one unified truth.
Look at the flower of life, carved into the Osirion, the geometry of creation. The Great Pyramid fits perfectly within this matrix, a fractal of the universal design. We seek alien builders. We underestimate our own ancient brilliance. Humanity was once awake. We mapped the cosmos because we knew we belonged to it. The shafts point, the gallery amplifies, the coffer resonates, the geometry calculates. An orchestra of stone playing a silent symphony. Can you hear it? The Great Pyramid is not a tomb of death, it is a monument of life, a beacon calling across the millennia, reminding us of who we used to be. The cosmic clock ticks, the procession of the equinoxes slowly turns the sky. Orion drifts, Draco falls,
The alignments of 2500 BC fade into history, yet the math endures. The ratio of pi does not change. The golden mean is forever. They anchored fleeting time into permanent geometry, a message in a bottle of stone. To read it, you must learn the language of the universe. It requires no translation, only observation, only reverence. The inner stargate mirrors the outer, the pineal gland and the king's chamber. Both are resonant cavities. Both secrete the light of consciousness. To activate the pyramid, you must first activate yourself. The stones are cold. It is the human observer that brings the fire. Enter the mystery. Do not just look at the monument. Let it look at you.
The descent is easy. The ascent requires the strength of a god. Gravity pulls down. The architecture pulls up. A tension of forces. The same tension exists within the spine, the kundalini waiting to rise. The pyramid is an external map of our internal potential. We built it, not slaves with whips, but masters with vision. A society unified by a singular cosmic purpose to echo the divine. It stands as a rebuke to our modern amnesia, a giant finger pointing at the stars. We are the forgotten descendants of giants. It is time to remember. The machine is silent now, but the blueprint remains. Decode the stone, unlock the mind. The great work is not finished.
Look closely at the bedrock. The foundation is not leveled, it is integrated. Nature and mathematics, the raw and the refined, fused in perfect harmony. The 8 sides of the pyramid, invisible from the ground, revealed only from above, flashing only on the equinoxes, a temporal marker written in light and shadow, a clock, a calendar, a cosmic geodetic marker, all at once. How many dimensions of truth can one shape hold? The answer is infinite. The mortar, chemically analyzed, its origin remains unknown, harder than the stone it binds. It defies logic, it defies time, it demands a paradigm shift. The king's chamber is not centered. It rests precisely at the golden section of the height. The heart of the machine beats where mathematics says it must. Above the chamber, relieving blocks, massive granite beams stacked to bear the crushing weight. Not just structural, acoustic dampeners, tuning the frequency of the room below. They crafted an instrument, a Stradivarius made of millions of tons of rock. We look at it through the lens of death. They built it for life eternal. The ascent of the Akh, the spirit breaking free of the physical density, guided by the geometry, propelled by the resonance, aimed at the stars.
This is not a conspiracy. It is a lost science. A science that understood the unity of mind, mass, and the cosmos. The pyramid does not force belief. It demands calculation. It offers data. 2 + 2. You must find the 4. Water once surrounded the plateau. The Nile flowed close, a reflecting pool of stars. The Milky Way above, the Nile below, heaven mirrored on earth. A deliberate microcosm built to anchor the celestial order into the mundane dust. The hermetic seal, what happens here echoes there. We look at the ruins, we see decay, we should see the skeleton of a god. The flesh is gone, the casing stone stolen,
The core remains unbroken. It has survived earthquakes that leveled cities because it is built on universal constants. Truth does not collapse, it endures. Have we lost the ability to read the code? Perhaps we are just beginning. The void inside, the hidden chamber, it waits for the right technology, the right mind.
To understand it, we must elevate our consciousness. We must become equal to the builders. The pyramid is not a relic of the past. It is a challenge to the future. Step into the resonance. Feel the weight of eternity. The cosmic device is still active. It is operating within you. The stone is merely the anchor. The true architecture is the awakened mind. Look to Orion. Look to Sirius. Look within. The Great Pyramid, Earth's lost cosmic blueprint, a map you carry in your DNA. The builders left, but they left the door open. We must walk through. The journey from the material to the metaphysical begins now. The stars are waiting. The imperishable ones are watching. The resonance builds. The frequency aligns. The cosmic device activates. Not with a roar, but with a silent, mathematical perfection. The Great Pyramid is not a tomb. It is a triumph of mind over matter, of spirit over stone. Let the silence of the king's chamber speak. Listen carefully. The universe is whispering. The stones are echoing. We are not alone. We are part of the grand geometry. The blueprint is yours. The choice is yours. To remain asleep in the dust, or to awaken and ascend the stars. The Great Pyramid stands, a cosmic device, waiting. Its shadow moves like a sundial across the ages, measuring the rise and fall of empires. Kings turn to dust. The math remains infallible. We dig for treasure, but we overlook the highest technology ever created. A technology of consciousness, a machine that runs on human intent. The granite coffer, empty, not because it was robbed, because it is a vessel for the living, a cradle for the second birth, the birth of the Akh. The pyramid initiates. It strips away the illusion of time. It leaves only the eternal present, the nexus point of the cosmos. You are not separate from this design. You are the observer it requires. The circuit is incomplete without your awareness. Connect the dots. 2 + 2. The stone, the stars, the math, the mind. The equation equals ascension. Do not walk blindly through the ruins. See the blueprint. Read the cosmic code. The ancients did not build for their glory. They built for our awakening. The Great Pyramid, the silent teacher, the eternal device. It has endured 5,000 years. It will endure 5,000 more. Will you remain blind to its function, or will you learn to operate the machine? The keys are hidden in plain sight. Pi, Phi, Orion. The initiation is internal. The resonance must happen within your own architecture. Align your spine with the shafts. Align your mind with the stars. The Great Pyramid is Earth's lost cosmic blueprint, but it is not lost forever. The knowledge is resurfacing. The ancient circuit is closing. We are the inheritors of the stone. We are the operators of the device. Do not turn away. Do not look for simple answers in the dust. Look to the geometry. Look to the resonance. Look to the cosmos.
The Great Pyramid, a cosmic device waiting for humanity to remember. The void inside the stone reflects the void inside the mind. Fill it with light. The initiation is ending, but the journey is just beginning. You have seen the blueprint. You have heard the resonance. The next step is yours. The ascension is a personal choice. The stone waits. The stars wait. The math is eternal. What will you do with the knowledge? Let it fade or let it ignite? The Great Pyramid, Earth's lost cosmic blueprint, the map to the infinite. Do not close your eyes. The initiation continues within. The resonance is real. The geometry is true. The ascension is possible. We are not the end of the line. We are the awakening. The Great Pyramid stands as proof. We were once cosmic. We will be again. Keep your eyes on the stars. Keep your mind in the geometry. Align yourself with the eternal order. The initiation is yours to claim. The stone remembers. Do you? Let the resonance guide you. Let the geometry map your ascent. The Great Pyramid, the ultimate technology of consciousness. It is waiting. The cosmic device is waiting. The final alignment is internal. The final ascension is now. Do not let the knowledge fade into myth. Keep the resonance alive. Take your place in the circle of the initiated. The path is open. Do not just observe. Become the geometry. Become the light. The Great Pyramid, a cosmic device. The truth is etched in stone. Align with our timeline. Enter the archive of the ancients before the shadow falls.